Hey, it's Doug from Backcountry Pilgrim, a channel all about hiking, camping, backpacking, and the gear that goes with it.
Today I want to talk to you about walkie-talkie radios. A couple of weeks back, I went on a quick hiking trip with my family, and we had about 8 of us together hiking this trail, and we ended up getting separated. Now, it wasn't that big of a deal because the trail wasn't that hard to follow, but when I got all the way back to the car, half my family was there and the other half was not. So we waited a little while, but it started to get a little nerve-wracking because they should have caught us by that point, and so I turned around and re-hiked about half the hike, going back to find the rest of our party. Now, while I was on this trail, I was in a fairly steep, rocky canyon that I thought would have carried sound pretty well, and so I broke my be quiet on the trail rule and just once or twice shouted the name of one of the people that was behind me. Pretty loud. I mean, I could hear it echoing off the walls, and I didn't get any response, which told me that those guys must be pretty far away. I literally took about 5 steps, crested a hill, and there they were. And the lesson here is that when you're outside, sound doesn't always travel the way you think it might. And if you're relying on your shouting voice to keep in communication with someone, not only are you being super annoying to other people on the trail, but it also has a high likelihood of failure. So the next week, when I took my kids out on a hike and I knew that my 15-year-old was probably going to want to run ahead of us, I gave him one of these. This is the Retevis RT49P. Retevis actually reached out to me and wanted me to check out these radio walkie-talkies, and not being a radio guy, I wasn't really sure if they were a legit brand or not, so of course I did my homework, and I actually checked in with a radio nerd buddy, and he told me, yeah, these are legit. This is a good company. Go ahead and check them out. Now, the RT49P is an FRS radio, which stands for Family Radio Service. FRS is a subset of the GMRS. It's limited to 2 watts, has a non-removable antenna, operates on 22 channels with 121 subtones, and operates in the 462 to 467 hertz range. Now, if any of that made sense to you, you are probably a nerd. The importance of most of that data is just that you can operate these radios without a license. So this isn't just like your kid's walkie-talkie. This is actually a radio. And yet with these, you don't have to have a license. You can buy these on Amazon. See the link in the description below. So the RT49P is actually a 2-way radio. It's got 22 channels, but it also has 121 what they call subtones, which are kind of a way of narrowing down the channel to give you a little bit more privacy and keep you from hearing other people's conversations. With 121 subtones, somebody would literally have to find your channel and then cycle through every single subtone until they found you talking. So while it's not truly private, it does give you a way to easily screen people that are just searching for someone to talk to. What I wanted is something that would work well in the outdoors, something that would make sense for someone that hikes and backpacks, and that is why I picked these. The RT49 is an IP67 rated waterproof radio, which means that it can survive submersion in up to a meter of water for about 30 minutes and still work after you take it out. So this is not an underwater radio. You don't want to jump in the pool with this and try to talk. The other cool thing about this radio is that it actually floats. If you drop this in water, it will float on top. As you can see, it's pretty brightly colored and easy to see, but also the built-in flashlight will automatically come on and start flashing. So like I said, this actually has a little built-in flashlight, which can be handy in an emergency situation if you're just trying to find other light. Obviously, you don't want this thing running for too long because it's going to kill the radio. It comes with 3 AA nickel metal hydride rechargeable batteries. It's got its own micro USB charger port in the radio itself, but it also comes with a dual charger base, so you can just leave them plugged in on a nightstand or something and find them in case of emergency. Speaking of emergencies, it also has this handy SOS button, and what this does when you hold it for a few seconds is it makes a siren and flashes the red light. Now, this is also going to signal the other radio. So if somebody else is within range, they're actually going to hear the SOS sound on their radio and hopefully come rescue you. These also have a call feature so that they can operate kind of like a phone. The power button is a long press to turn on and off, but if you just push it, they will ring the other person and let them know, hey, go get your radio, it's time to talk. They also have an earbud port so that you can use these without broadcasting your conversation to everybody around you. Finally, as far as call modes go, you also have a Vox setting, which is basically voice activation. And what that means is if you just want to clip this onto a sternum strap or something, anytime you talk, it will automatically trigger the send so that somebody else can hear you. Now, of course, the only problem with that is that it is really noise activated, not voice activated. So if this is banging around in a pocket or something, it's going to continue to transmit all that noise. It does have a couple different sensitivity settings to help alleviate that. These also have the ability to listen in on the NOAA weather reporting system, which can be super helpful if you're out in the backcountry. Okay, that's a lot of information. There are a lot of goodies packed into these little radios. They only run about $30, which is pretty impressive for all that they do. As tough as they are, as waterproof as they float, not super heavy. The question, of course, is how well do they actually work outside? This kind of radio, as long as you have line of sight, in other words, you're not on the other side of a mountain or something, you've got a pretty solid 1 mile range. And that seems to work even if you're outside with trees and things like that in between you. I personally did a couple walk-away tests where I just ran the radios and walked 300 or 400 feet away. I did this in perfect line of sight with nothing in between me and the radio to check the sound quality.
Check. 50, check. 75, check. All right, should be at about 300 feet. We'll see how we're doing.
And then to check out how they worked with obstacles, I actually did another test where I made it blast through walls and doors and clear across a fairly large campus.
Check. Same room.
Check, office next door. Check, hallway outside office suite. Check, end of hallway outside building. Check, end of first parking lot halfway to other office. Check, front of other office. Check, other side of other office. Check, far side of farthest parking lot. Check, bathroom outside office.
Now, this is not going to be something where you can talk to each other across town. It's not a cell phone. In real world scenarios, you're going to want to stay within about a mile or so of the other parties in order for these to work well. The battery life on these is pretty impressive. The company says 5 to 8 hours, probably on low power, but I've seen one review where someone ran them on high power, using them constantly for 2 hours, and the battery life was only half depleted. I've kept mine on standby for a couple of days, and they still power right up. The button array is not super intuitive, especially if you're not a radio person, which I am not. However, the instruction book was clear. And really, there isn't a whole lot to these. Once you turn them on, you just pick your channel and go. There isn't a lot of fine-tuning that you need to do just to use it. It pretty much works right out of the box, but the deeper you go, the more functions you can unlock. I think for a beginner like me, who is not used to having radios, this was a really good choice. All right, I hope this video has been helpful to you. If it has, would you mind giving the video a like? Subscribe to the channel if you're into hiking, camping, backpacking, and the gear that goes with it, and click the bell or else YouTube won't tell you when new videos come out. Until next time, I'm Doug. Thank you for watching.